It's decision day in Wisconsin. Voters are heading to the polls at this hour in the historic recall race between Republican Governor Scott Walker and Democrat Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett, who's challenging him. It is a bitter political battle over Governor Walker's efforts to curb unions and their collective bargaining rights that could affect the presidential race, not to mention influence policy toward organized labor nationwide. Pollster Frank Luntz is in Wisconsin with a special focus group weighing in on today's recall vote. Frank?
Megan, this is ground zero. Madison, Wisconsin. All eyes are on what happens tonight in the election, and we've got 25 Wisconsin voters, and boy, are they divided. My question to you is, are you representative of America, or is this just Wisconsin? What would you say?
No, this is representative of America. We're so divided, and the sad thing is we haven't seen this kind of division, I don't think, in hundreds of years. I mean, but we've got to find a way to come together.
Why are you so divided?
We never ask the tough questions, and we're actually asking a tough question here.
So you think this is
addressing things that need to be addressed?
So you think this is a good thing?
Absolutely.
Why?
We're addressing things that need to be addressed, budget deficits, things that should have been taken care of a long time ago.
Is this a good
thing? $16 to $20 million.
So you're against what's going on?
I'm totally against recall. That's why they're called terms.
Election and what the issues are, though.
Against the recall for for reduction of budget deficit.
How many of you, by show of hands, think, let's get a wide shot here, how many of you think that the recall is a waste of money? Raise your hands. Okay, so most of you agree with that, but you don't. Why not?
I think it's you're seeing what democracy is about. People don't agree with the candidate, what they did. He didn't campaign on it. He did not say he was going to cut the school budget the way he did.
You don't agree?
He
did. Go ahead.
But when it,
Marilyn?
He said we needed to be fiscally responsible. He's trying to put the budget back in order, and that's what everybody needs to be doing in this country.
Oh, go ahead.
The recall basically is disenfranchising every voter in the 2010 election. A four-year term is a four-year term.
Exactly. This is why we are in the situation that we are. We're trying to make people make a decision that is outside of the bounds of what they're supposed to be doing. We elected him to do this job, and so far, as my opinion, he's done the best job he could possibly do.
He was elected to do a job, but he came in and he bulldozed the people of Wisconsin. There's a huge issue there.
so what happened?
That's what they needed, was to be bulldozed, get off center.
Not in that way. The people needed to have their opinions count.
One at a time.
We did vote. The people voted in November of 2010, and now it's June of 2012, and we're at it again. It's ridiculous.
We understand that there are
When you have
He's saving the
majorities in each
taxpayers.
house in the state, politically, you take advantage of it. I'm all for it.
We understand that there are disagreements, and some of those disagreements are really, really fundamental. But if you take a look at what the response was, the protests, that was an embarrassment to our state. I talk to people around the country, and they look at us and they wonder, what's the matter
People
with
said the exact opposite, thought we were doing something that was trailblazing and amazing.
So are we here to see history, or are we here to be a part of history?
It was Redux Madison 1967. It was embarrassing.
No, it wasn't.
Walker and the legislatures for the budgets that they did reduce to keep the jobs, because under the tenure rules that the unions have installed, many people would have lost their jobs if it had not been for Walker and the legislature.
Were you embarrassed by what happened?
No, I'm not embarrassed by what happened. I think it lit a fire under a lot of people, and it's getting people to get out and say what they want to say and getting them to work towards the middle.
52% of the people in 2010 said that Walker was the person to elect, and we did so. 48% of them don't like what he's doing, so they become the vocal majority.
So let me ask you as a group, hold on, let me ask you as a group, and I'll start with you. What message is tomorrow going to send? A majority of you think that Walker emerges later tonight as still the governor. What message does that send to the rest of America?
I think that's going to send a message that unions are losing their importance and their productivity in America right now. In the last 50 years, let me finish. In the last 50 years, unions have gone down by 50%. This is a natural progression. They had their place once, they don't really anymore, and in a private position, that might be possible, but in public, it's not.
Go ahead.
I think it's important, and it sends a message that the middle class and the poor they need to keep fighting to fight against the big money and the dollars that Scott Walker brought into the state.
The election is sending a message that continuing to spend money we don't have, building deficits, is wrong, and that takes bold action. We have to make the decisions now, not put it off for the next term.
I hope our government reaches the same conclusion in Washington as we have done here. Stop the bad spending. Get it under control right now.
Do you guys agree with that? Yes. My God, we have something you all agree on.
I have to run my home with a checkbook, and I think the state and the federal government should do the same thing.
Yes.
You guys
so it
agree
should
with
be done
that?
on the backs of the poor.
I don't know how it should be done, but we have to spend.
Everybody manages their own finances at home. The government needs to learn how to manage the finances that we essentially pay for.
If we don't have fiscal responsibility, we're not going to have the excess that we create that in a business is called profit, that when we take a look on a national basis or from a state perspective, gives us the flexibility and the latitude to take care of the poor, to address some of the nice things. If we don't take care of the responsible things first, we don't have that excess to solve those other problems.
And that is a great way to end this segment's last question. Will Wisconsin emerge from this election stronger or weaker? Stronger. Stronger. It sounds pretty rough, Megan, but you got to have some hope that when this is done, no matter what happens, the state will emerge with a better idea of where it wants to go in the future. But make no mistake, all of America is watching right here in Madison right now. Back to you.
Wow, interesting. Frank Luntz, thank you so much, and thank you to his group for their candid answers.